So a big mistake I used to make all the time when I was picking out what camera to buy was I would just look up how much the camera cost and then see if I could afford it or not and then buy it. So for example, if this camera was $3,800 and I had like $4,000 to spend, I would then decide, oh, this is the camera I could afford. But the problem is the way these cameras come nowadays, they are nowhere near ready for any type of production. It doesn't matter if you're doing a one-man band type of shoot or if you're working with a big crew of 20, you still are going to have a ton of expenses to make this ready to go. So in this quick video, I wanted to kind of break down some of those expenses and then you could decide what you want to get based on that. So that's why I have a couple of different cameras, because you could always spend less on the camera body and then buy more on accessories. And I don't know if you've heard this before, but based on my experience, it's not the camera body that makes all the difference really. A lot of times it's the lens and the limitations you have because of the things you chose to buy with the camera, like the type of memory card, the speed of that card, if you have any other accessories like ND filters. So let me show you some of the things that I always recommend when building out a camera package, so you kind of get an idea of a true cost of building a Sony FX3 or really any cameras this price range. So obviously you can't do anything right till you have a lens. So what do I have for lenses as far as these type of cameras go? Well, I think the best lens you could buy for the price for any camera of this price point is the Sony 24-105 f4 with image stabilizer built into it. Now I have the exact same Canon one too that I use for Canon mount cameras, the 24-105 f4 with image stabilizer. Now both of these, doesn't matter if you're Sony or Canon, are $1,000, right? So already, if you buy this camera, since I'm talking about this camera in this video, you're $38,000 for the body plus tax, so let's say $4,000. Then you're at $5,000 just by having one lens. That's not even the best lens, but it's the most versatile. So if I was to buy one lens, I'll buy this. Now Sigma makes a less expensive version of it, but I love having native lenses for native mounts. So Blackmagic, for example, right? I'm having Canon on here with EF mount, but in this case it doesn't matter, right? Because it's Blackmagic. Blackmagic doesn't make lenses, so Sigma would be fine. But typically for my Canon cameras, I put Canon lenses, Sony lenses. The autofocus just works so much faster, I think, based on my tests. So that's the first thing I buy. Then here is where it gets a little tricky, because you could buy an additional lens, but I would hold off on that, because what ends up happening is you go on a shoot, this whole thing comes with one battery. You can't do anything with one battery, right? I take 4 batteries with me plus a dual charger to every single shoot with every single camera. Always have, right? When I couldn't afford it, I still avoided buying more expensive lenses and bought more batteries. That's the one thing I really learned over 15 years of shooting, that never skim on batteries. Even if you get the off-brand ones, just have some. These Sony ones are about $60. So you're looking at another $200 right there. So right now we're at $5,200, but you still have no memory card to shoot on. So let me show you this memory card I have here. I think maybe it was $100. So this one is just SD card and it's 300 megabyte read and write speed. Now this doesn't let me shoot 240 frames. Do I need to shoot 240 frames? Most of the time I don't. But it also limits me on some of the settings for 120 frames, which I shoot a lot of. So sadly, I had to buy this and a couple of these. So you're already looking at a couple $100, $300 maybe for a couple of these. You also want to buy one of these, right? Because you want to store your cards properly. You're looking at $20 here. But typically, this is where the problem comes in. If you have to buy higher speed memory cards, like this one is like $400 right now for this 160 gigabyte card. It's very expensive, right? I don't even have 2 of these. I only have one. When I want to shoot 240 frames, for example, I put this in. So I do the lens first, then I buy a bunch of batteries, then I buy this memory card, a couple of these, and then if I have any money left over, I buy this one, right? And then, sadly, I'm not quite done yet, because these cameras don't have ND filter. So then I have to buy something like this that goes on top of the lens. And this is not a super universal one. It's 82 millimeters. So this fits on like a couple of my lenses that are 82 millimeter in the front, but not all my lenses, right? So sometimes I have to buy a couple of these. So these are, again, could be $100, $150 for a variable ND filter, but if you're ever shooting outdoor, I don't know how you could go without something like this. Or even a more expensive matte box, but then you're building out an entire kind of a camera rig, like I have a whole camera rig here, right? That could get very expensive. Okay, so what do I buy at this point? Well, I buy a decent tripod, and a decent tripod at the low end could be like $500. And my Sockler tripod that I'm actually using it right there, that cost me like $5,000. I didn't buy that for 10 years, right? I had the $500 Manfrotto tripods. But without a fluid head tripod, you're really stuck to handheld work because you really can't pan. And that's one of the investments that was really, really hard to make, was buying a good tripod, because you typically don't make your money back on the tripod. It just helps you get better shots and makes your day and your life a little bit easier. So over time, I believe, no matter where you are in your career, that you will at some point want to spend on the higher Sockler tripods. I know that's just kind of down the road for most people, and it's really expensive, really hard purchase to make, but it's made my life so much easier. But at the minimum, you're still looking at $500 for a Manfrotto 502 or 504 kind of tripod. We're not talking about audio, we're not talking about lighting, we're just talking about this camera built out so it could actually do a shoot. You're looking at a $6,000 package, right? If you add up lighting, right, just in this room alone, I have a few $1,000s worth of lighting just to make this, right? So that could also add up. Obviously, you could go with cheaper lighting and upgrade over time. Sound, I'm wearing a $600 lavalier mic, right? So you need something like that, or a boom mic. So even an on-camera mic, maybe an XLR mic, a Rode mic, that's still a few $100s. So I'm not talking about any of that in this video. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of, if you buy a camera that's closer to $4,000, at the bare minimum, you're gonna spend about $6,000, about 50% more than the actual cost. So if you buy this $2,000 or $2,500 camera, again, add a couple of thousand to that to get a full package out of it. Now this has a little bit of cage, very inexpensive, but it's still ready to go, right? $1,000 for this. Again, 4 batteries. I got a couple of cards. I don't even have the more expensive card, because with this you could record onto a SSD drive, but then I had to buy that also. So it does add up. That's the true cost of buying any of these cameras. It's 50% add-on to what you have here. And if you're brand new to production, you're looking at a lot more, right? Because you have to have a basic lighting package, you have to have a basic audio package. So reduce the expenditure on the camera body and spend more on lenses and accessories to actually make yourself kind of a one-man band if you're starting out. Now, finishing up a complete course on this, everything I've learned in the last 15 years of running a 7-figure video production company. So I want to share that with you, because it's all about everything you do beyond this point. It's not really about camera selection, it's about how you actually use your accessories, your cameras, your talent, and marketing to get clients or get film work. So I cover that all of that in that course. I'll put a link below. The first 100 students get a big discount. Hopefully it's released by the time you watch this video. I hope you found this useful. I post all kinds of filmmaking videos on this channel, and editing techniques too, every single week. So hopefully you could subscribe, and I will see you next time.